Dr. Elias Carter wiped the sweat from his forehead as he stood at the edge of the canyon. The twin suns of the planet Virelia cast long golden shadows over the jagged ruins scattered across the valley. For centuries, this planet had been abandoned, its cities swallowed by sand and time. Yet something about it called to him. Elias had spent most of his life exploring ancient worlds, searching for civilizations that had long vanished. But Virelia was different. He felt a strange energy here, a quiet hum that seemed to vibrate beneath his feet. Elias adjusted his dusty field coat and pulled out a small scanner. The device beeped softly as it detected a hidden structure beneath the surface, buried beneath centuries of rock and debris. His heart raced. Many archaeologists had visited Virelia and left disappointed. But Elias never gave up so easily. He crouched near the opening, brushing away centuries of dust and sand. Slowly, a faint outline of an underground chamber appeared. This could be something extraordinary, he whispered to himself. Carefully, he began clearing the entrance, making a path large enough to crawl through. Inside, the air was cool and still, untouched by time. The walls were lined with glowing symbols, intricate carvings that pulsed faintly with a light that seemed alive. Elias could feel the energy in the chamber, soft but strong, almost like it was watching him. At the center of the chamber stood a sarcophagus, unlike anything Elias had ever seen. It was tall, carved from a black crystalline stone that shimmered under his torchlight. Strange runes covered its surface, forming patterns that seemed to move when he looked away and then back again. He ran his fingers over the surface, amazed at the craftsmanship. Elias had studied alien languages for decades, but these inscriptions were unlike anything in his database. He took out a translator device and scanned the runes, but the machine only produced a faint humming sound. "It doesn't match anything known," Elias muttered. A mix of excitement and nervousness grew in his chest. He had uncovered many ancient tombs before, but this felt different. There was power here, a life waiting beneath the stone. He hesitated for only a moment before carefully lifting the sarcophagus lid. For a brief second, nothing happened. Then, the air shifted. A soft light glowed from within the sarcophagus, and a gentle wind swirled through the chamber. Elias stumbled back, shielding his eyes from the sudden brilliance. When he looked again, he saw her. She lay inside the sarcophagus, tall and regal, with skin that seemed to shimmer faintly under the light. Her long hair spread like liquid silver across the floor, and her features were delicate but commanding. Even in her sleep, she radiated power. Elias felt a strange pull, a curiosity mixed with awe. And then, slowly, her eyes opened. They were not human eyes, nor like any alien species he had studied. They glowed with a soft violet light. And for a moment, Elias froze. She sat up, her movements graceful and deliberate, as though she had been expecting him. "Who are you?" she asked in a voice that was melodic, rich, and strangely familiar, though he could not understand the words. Elias swallowed hard. I'm Dr. Elias Carter. I'm an archaeologist. I didn't mean to. I found you." His words stumbled over themselves. She tilted her head, observing him. Then, she spoke again, slowly this time. Her voice was clearer, and Elias realized he could understand her. "I am Lyra, Queen of the Nightfall Realm. Who has disturbed my slumber?" Elias's jaw dropped. "Nightfall Realm?" he echoed. You've been asleep? For centuries?" Lyra's eyes glimmered as she nodded. "Many centuries. The stars I once ruled have changed. New beings walk among them. Yet, here you are." Elias took a cautious step closer. "I didn't mean to wake you. I didn't know anyone was here. I found your chamber, By accident. Lyra smiled faintly, a curve of her lips that seemed to carry both amusement and curiosity. Accidents have their place in fate, human. The word human made Elias stiffen. He had studied alien civilizations, but he had never encountered someone like her. Lyra had a presence that demanded attention without force. It was impossible not to notice her. He looked around the chamber. This place. It's incredible. Who built it? My people, Lyra replied. Long ago, we ruled many worlds. We created. We protected. We learned. Then, time came for me to rest. Elias couldn't stop himself from asking, "Why were you sleeping?" Lyra's gaze softened. Even rulers need rest, human. Some of our enemies sought to claim our power. I chose sleep over war, hoping the stars would remain balanced until the right moment. Elias felt a chill of awe. She had survived centuries of isolation, awakening now in a galaxy that had moved on without her. He realized the weight of her existence not just as an alien queen, but as a being of immense knowledge and wisdom. You don't seem hostile," Elias said cautiously. "I was afraid. I thought you might." Lyra shook her head. "Fear is natural. But I sense your heart, human. You mean no harm. That is rare in these times." Elias relaxed slightly, though his mind raced. What did this mean for humanity? For the galaxy? Lyra could hold secrets, technologies, and knowledge that humans had never dreamed of. The possibilities were endless. For a moment, neither spoke. The chamber seemed to hum with energy, the walls glowing faintly, as if acknowledging her presence. Elias realized that Lyra's awakening had affected the ancient city itself. Lights flickered along the walls, ancient machinery whirred quietly, and the symbols pulsed softly. "Your awakening. It is changing this place," Elias said. Lyra's violet eyes studied him. "Life changes all it touches. You have freed me, human. The stars will notice." Elias took a step closer, his excitement growing. "Freed you? I didn't know. I thought I was just exploring." "You have done more than explore," Lyra replied. "You have opened a door to the past, and perhaps to the future." Elias felt a strange mix of fear and wonder. Lyra stood, her movements fluid, almost gliding over the floor. She reached out a hand, and Elias noticed a strange glow surrounding it. "We learn, human. We understand each other. And we prepare for what the universe has in store." Elias nodded slowly. Despite the strangeness of the situation, he felt a deep trust forming. Lyra was powerful, yes, but she was also intelligent, curious, and willing to communicate. They spent hours in the chamber, exchanging knowledge. Elias shared information about Earth, humanity, and the current state of space exploration. Lyra listened with fascination, asking questions about the stars, the ships, and the beings he had encountered. In return, Lyra spoke of her civilization, of worlds that had once thrived under her guidance, and of technologies that seemed like magic to a human mind. She showed him small demonstrations, floating lights, shifting energy fields, and devices that responded to thought. Elias was amazed. The knowledge she held could change the course of human history. As the twin suns began to set, casting long shadows across the ruins, Elias realized how much time had passed. They had spoken for hours, yet it felt like minutes. He felt a strange connection to her, not romantic, but one of shared curiosity and respect. "You are incredible," Elias admitted, his voice soft. Lyra tilted her head, a small smile on her lips. "And you, human, are brave. Few would enter a chamber such as mine without fear. You have courage, curiosity, and a mind worth teaching." Elias laughed nervously. "I guess I'll need a lot of teaching then." Lyra's laughter was soft, melodic, echoing lightly in the chamber. Perhaps. But first, you must rest. The journey ahead is long. Elias nodded, realizing she was right. He set up a small temporary camp in the chamber, using his equipment to create a safe, comfortable area. As he lay down, he couldn't help but glance at Lyra, who stood watching him silently. Even in this moment, she seemed majestic, her presence filling the room. The stars began to rise outside, visible through small openings in the ruins. Elias felt a mixture of wonder and anticipation. Lyra had awakened, and with her, a new chapter had begun not just for him, but perhaps for all of humanity. As he drifted to sleep, Elias knew one thing for certain. The galaxy would never be the same again, and neither would he. The next morning, the golden light of Virelia's twin suns spilled over the ruins, casting long shadows across the jagged stone. Doctor. Elias Carter stretched and yawned, feeling the stiffness of the previous night. He had barely slept, not because he was uncomfortable, but because his mind had been racing with thoughts about Lyra, the alien queen he had awakened. Lyra was already awake when he opened his eyes. She was standing near the chamber's wall, observing the glowing symbols that still pulsed faintly from her presence. Her long silver hair caught the light, shimmering like liquid starlight. Even in this early hour, she carried an aura of elegance and wisdom that made Elias pause. "You slept," she said, her voice soft, melodic. "Good. Rest is necessary, human. You will need your strength." Elias nodded, rubbing the back of his neck. I barely slept. I kept thinking about all the things you said last night. About your civilization, your empire, and the knowledge you hold. It's incredible." Lyra turned her gaze toward him, her violet eyes filled with curiosity. "And you, human, are eager to learn. That is rare. Most beings fear what they do not understand." Elias smiled nervously. "I guess I'm not most beings. But there's so much I don't know, and I don't even know where to start." Lyra stepped closer, her movements graceful and deliberate. "Start with what you understand. Show me your world. I will listen, and in return, I will teach you what I can." That is how trust begins. For the next several hours, Elias explained life on Earth. He spoke of humans' achievements and their struggles, their curiosity and resilience, their love for exploration. He told her about space travel, the colonies on distant planets, and humanity's thirst for knowledge. Lyra listened intently, asking questions with a sharp intelligence that surprised Elias. She wanted to know about energy systems, communication networks, and how humans governed themselves. She was fascinated by humanity's ability to adapt, survive, and grow, even without advanced technology. "You are remarkable," Lyra said finally, her voice carrying admiration. "Your people have accomplished much, even without the guidance my kind once offered." Elias felt a thrill of pride. "Thank you. But your civilization was far ahead of ours. You ruled many worlds, didn't you?" Lyra nodded. "Yes. I was queen of an empire that spanned many star systems. We built, protected, and guided. But even the strongest must rest, and I chose slumber over endless conflict. That was my decision, human, and now I am awake once more." As they spoke, the chamber seemed to respond to Lyra's presence. The glowing symbols shifted and sparkled, and small, dormant devices, embedded in the walls, began to hum softly. Elias watched in awe. You're affecting this place," he said. Lyra smiled faintly. "The world recognizes its ruler. Even in sleep, my connection remained. Now, it awakens fully with me." Curious, Elias gestured toward one of the devices. "Can it be activated?" Lyra's hand hovered over the small console embedded in the wall. A soft light traveled from her fingers into the device, and it whirred to life. Holographic maps appeared in the air, displaying star systems and planetary positions. Elias's jaw dropped. This is incredible," he whispered. "These maps, they're centuries ahead of our technology." Lyra nodded. "They are part of the knowledge I possess. Some of it you may use. Some may be too dangerous without understanding. That is why I will teach you." Elias was both thrilled and overwhelmed. He had discovered many alien civilizations before, but none had offered knowledge so vast and complete. And now, he had access to it all, because of Lyra's awakening. They spent the next few hours exploring the chamber, uncovering devices and ancient artifacts that seemed to respond to Lyra's presence. Elias documented everything, careful not to disturb anything unnecessarily. He realized that every object here had a purpose, a design far beyond human imagination. As they worked, Lyra began to learn more about humanity in turn. She asked questions not just about technology, but about emotions, relationships, and human creativity. Elias found himself explaining art, music, and literature, and Lyra listened with fascination, absorbing concepts that were entirely foreign to her species. "You are different from those I once ruled," Lyra said thoughtfully. "Your people do not rely solely on power. You rely on imagination, on thought, on hope. That is refreshing." Elias smiled. "We do our best. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But we try. We think. We do our best. We do our best." Lyra's eyes softened. "Try. That is important. I see now why the universe allowed our paths to cross. You will teach me about your people, and I will teach you about mine. Together, perhaps, we can accomplish more than either could alone." Just as Elias was beginning to feel comfortable, a faint vibration ran through the chamber. The walls pulsed with light, and a low hum echoed through the ruins. Elias glanced at Lyra, alarmed. "What's happening?" Lyra's eyes narrowed slightly. "It is not harmful. Yet. But my awakening has been sensed. Others may be aware that I am awake." Elias's stomach tightened. "Others? Who?" Lyra studied the glowing symbols, her expression serious. "There are beings who once sought my capture, who feared my power. They may still exist, waiting for centuries to reclaim what was theirs. We must be cautious." Elias nodded. "I see. So..." Lyra smiled faintly. "We continue as we have begun. We learn, we explore, and we prepare. You will help me understand the changes in this galaxy. I will guide you in using what knowledge we find wisely. Together, we will navigate the path ahead." Over the following days, Elias and Lyra explored more of the underground city. Lyra demonstrated her abilities in small ways, manipulating energy to activate ancient devices, creating light fields to illuminate dark corridors, and even accessing information embedded in the walls that revealed the history of her empire. Elias was amazed by her intelligence and her careful approach. She never used her abilities to harm. Instead, she focused on understanding and discovery. He realized that her species, while powerful, valued wisdom and restraint, a philosophy humans could learn from. During one exploration, they discovered a vast library of crystalline tablets. Elias ran his hands over the smooth surfaces, careful not to disturb the delicate inscriptions. Lyra explained that each tablet contained knowledge of science, philosophy, and art from her civilization. "This could change humanity's understanding of the universe," Elias said, awestruck. Lyra nodded. "But knowledge is not power unless it is used wisely. That is why I must guide you. You will learn what is safe, what is useful, and what must remain hidden until humanity is ready. They spent hours reading and recording information. Elias marveled at Lyra's patience as she explained complex concepts in ways he could understand. Energy systems that defied human physics, star maps of entire galaxies, and histories of civilizations long gone. It was overwhelming, yet thrilling. As the suns set on another day, Elias and Lyra sat near the chamber's entrance, watching the light fade across the ruins. "I never imagined I would meet someone like you," Elias said quietly. Lyra turned to him, her eyes reflecting the fading light. "And I never imagined I would meet a human capable of understanding me. You have courage, curiosity, and patience. These are rare qualities." Elias smiled. "I guess we make a good team." Lyra's smile was faint but genuine. "Perhaps. But remember, human, this is only the beginning. The galaxy is vast, and there are those who may not welcome our presence. Knowledge and wisdom will be our greatest allies." Elias nodded, feeling both excitement and a hint of apprehension. The awakening of Lyra had already begun to change the ruins, the city, and perhaps even the planet itself. He did not yet understand the full scope of what lay ahead, but he was ready to face it with Lyra by his side. As they prepared to rest that night, Elias reflected on the days since he had awakened the Queen. He had expected an adventure, yes, but he had not expected to meet someone so extraordinary. Lyra was more than a ruler of an ancient civilization. She was a guide, a teacher, and now, a companion in this new journey. And somewhere deep in the stars, he knew, forces were stirring beings who had long awaited her return. The challenge of understanding and protecting Lyra had only just begun. But for now, Elias allowed himself a moment of peace, watching the stars rise and feeling the weight of history and destiny pressing gently on his shoulders. Tomorrow, they would continue their exploration. Tomorrow, they would learn more about each other and the galaxy. And tomorrow, they would take the first steps toward a future that neither human nor alien could yet imagine.